Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's debate. My name is Mr. Bartlett and I am the chairman, and Avenir is the timekeeper. The debate will be judged by a panel of three adjudicators who are Ms. France, Ms. Ria Shiju and Mr. Wilkins. The topic of this debate is that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Mercedes College. The negative team to my left is from Adelaide High School. The speaking time for this debate is 6 minutes with a double bell at the end of your speaking time. A warning bell will ring once at 5 minutes. A continuous bell will ring 30 seconds after the final bell. Please switch off your mobile phones and other electronic devices. I declare this debate open. I call upon the first affirmative speaker, Gabriella Zeffi.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. We define the topic as according to the Oxford Language and Cambridge Dictionary. The term merger is used to explain the combination of two things, especially companies, into one. We define good idea to be making a judgment of an action to be of beneficial towards multiple parties. It is important to note that this proposal of merging does not currently have any published mission statement. The benefits to which we discussed are upon the criteria of financial gain and quality of education. Furthermore, I will go into more depth in this throughout my points. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. Today, as first speaker, I will be talking to you about the relevance that this has to multiple parties and the perception of the public that this university will receive. The second speaker will be talking about the quality and diversity of education offerings for students with the merge and the benefit of the H-index throughout the merge. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. My first point is about the relevance this has to the multiple parties. This is because a big change like this can affect South Australia itself, Australia as a nation, as well as globally, defining the parties involved. There are a variety of benefits that will come out of this merge from a financial perspective, mainly focusing on revenue growth. An article by Claudio Brasca, member of McKinsey & Company, a global management consultant, explains that for universities to be financially stable, they're wanting to have a revenue growth of about 3% or more. This relates to the merge, as each institution wants to be more financially stable. ABC News has said that by 2034, revenues to be expected $70 million a year more than current levels. From this, both universities are financially stable. Therefore, this allows them to have more funds and to be more flexible with more campuses, courses, and professors. This is beneficial to South Australia as it makes a positive difference to its economy. What I mean by this is that these parties are positively affected by the merge as it has increased financial stability between these institutions. Whilst the primary function is to provide education, it is important to note that financial capital is one factor in providing quality education. Now to my second point, which states the perception of the public that the university will receive upon the merge. This is because, with all these benefits that are certain to be made, this will give a good and open-minded perception about these two universities coming together. The university itself has stated that the merge of these two places will create around $500 million for the South Australian economy from 10 years from now. More money flow that this university is able to produce, the more improvements and developments the uni will undertake in order to achieve a place where students can flourish and shape their future. Moreover, what I mean by this is that because of the perception of the university is positive, it can only generate more places for students, jobs for the public, and assisting in creating a better economy, in the end leading to a higher financial status. From this, it leads to a place where not only students, but teachers and other staff members are able to utilise such developed and renewed environments for the better. According to the Universities Australia, international students have added over $25 billion to the economy, which is over 86% of the total that the education has added to the South Australian or Australian economy. From COVID-19, the economy faced consequences of being put at risk of almost losing $5 billion. This was not caused by the pandemic itself, but it was rather caused by the reliability on international students for funding. It has been projected from the insider guides that by 2034, over 6,000 international students will be recruited. What I mean by this is that this significant statistic of international students can create further growth for these institutions in a financial way, as well as creating a positive perception. Furthermore, because of this perception and a rise in it, it will create a positive way which will help financial stability. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we strongly believe that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea, which is supported by a numerous amount of reports stating that it is, in fact, does have relevance to the multiple parties and it will give a positive perception to the university. Thank you.
I call upon the first negative speaker, Rebecca Lugston.
Good evening, Mr. Chairperson, timekeeper and spectators. The topic for this debate is that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. We as the negative team firmly believe that this statement is false. We agree with the definition, but further define it as University of Adelaide as one of this sandstone and group of 8 universities established during colonial era Australia and is primarily located in Adelaide. We define UniSA as a South Australian university that was established by the Universities Act 1991 that amalgamated the South Australian Institute of Technology and the South Australian College of Advanced Education. The University of Adelaide and University of South Australia are two of 3 major universities whose main campuses reside in South Australia. The first speaker has said that the merge will result in financial growth. If the South Australian government is using taxpayers' money, should it not be beneficial to citizens of South Australia? The profits of the economic gain will be going straight to the respective university, which are private institutions. The first speaker has also stated that a merged institution can create a competitive advantage by better positioning itself to attract both domestic and international students. There are many other ways to have financial growth. Effective marketing and recruitment strategies are adaptable and can be tailored to meet the unique strengths and offerings of the individual universities. In fact, separate institutions have the flexibility to target niche markets and specific demographics more precisely, which can be a valuable asset in student recruitment efforts. Today as first speaker, my first point will highlight how the process has been extremely rushed. And my second point will discuss the inevitable job loss that will occur in this merge. The second speaker of the negative team will discuss the politicisation of this and how it has become entangled in the political agenda of the malanalysis government whilst prioritising the interests of political gain rather than the well-being and education of students. Her second point will discuss the issue of pushing for an unattainable goal. Finally, the third speaker of the negative team will rebut and sum up our team case. My first point is that the process of merging these universities has been extremely rushed. Furthermore, these two universities are already well respected as they already score highly in global rankings, which begs the question, why fix something that isn't broken? These two important organisations' hasty merging has resulted in a number of problems that cast doubt on the depth and deliberation of the merger's effects. Announcing the merger prematurely before the legislative completion weakens democracy and leaves crucial issues unanswered amidst ongoing parliamentary debate. The combined Adelaide University is scheduled to launch in 2026, which will add to the urgency for a number of reasons. The pace at which this merger is expected to be completed raises concerns about the thoroughness of planning, consultation, and implementation. Rushing through such a process runs the danger of missing important details that might have a detrimental influence on students, educators, staff, and the general functioning of the institutions. As presented in Daily, the fact that the Premier, Deputy Premier, and Education Minister did not read the complete merger study further emphasises the lack of thorough deliberation. This mistake is not only disturbing, but it also raises a question about the government's dedication to make a choice that is in the best interest of all parties involved. Who can be expected to have adequately analysed the merger if the highest levels of government haven't invested the requisite time and effort into grasping its complexity and implications? To my second point, the inevitable job losses and redundancies creates a crucial worry that needs careful examination. The magnitude of employment losses is grounds for alarm. In fact, in an article by Times Higher Education, the Vice-Chancellors claimed that any merger would see no net job losses. However, they offer little justification, and the history of such vast organisational changes gives cause for scepticism. As the newspaper Adelaide Now pointed out, talk of greater productivity and economies of scale is always a recipe for job cuts. Departments, programs, and administrative tasks are frequently combined throughout the merger process, which ultimately results in job losses. This may cause a significant number of staff to lose their positions, which might have an effect on numerous academic and administrative functions. These employment losses have an effect on people beyond those who are directly impacted. It might cause the institutional atmosphere to be disturbed, which would lower the remaining staff members' involvement, productivity, and morale. It's essential to acknowledge that these job losses also reverberate beyond the immediate individuals affected. The disturbances to the institutional environment, decreased morale, and potential productivity downturns among remaining staff could collectively dampen education quality and hinder the university's mission. This is consistent with the observation in a New York Times article published this year, where widespread layoffs have been shown to impact not only those directly affected, but also the overall morale and performance of an organisation. As stated by author David Noah and CBS News, employers who remain after job cuts tend to be less productive, more suspicious, more fearful, and get less work done. In conclusion, Mr. Chairperson, Timekeeper, and spectators, we, the negative team, staunchly believe that the merger of the Adelaide University and UniSA is not a good idea, rather a detrimental move that will have a severe impact on the educational field altogether. Thank you.
call upon the second affirmative speaker, Lauren Garicki.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. We, the affirmative team, strongly believe that this statement is true. Our first speaker spoke to about the relevance the merge has to multiple parties and the perception of the public that the university will receive upon the merge. I will be talking to you about the quality and diversity of education offerings for students with the merge and the benefit of the H index through the merge. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. I will now rebut the first negative speaker's case. The first negative speaker has tried to tell you that the merge will create job loss. While some jobs may be lost in this process, as with any industry, there can also be jobs gained. The merge is combining two of the biggest universities in South Australia, ultimately hoping to create more education opportunities for more students. What I mean by this is that with a bigger university and student population, many jobs will still be needed. With more students, there will need to be more staff to balance the influx in students that the Adelaide University hopes to have. They also tried to tell you that this whole process is rushed. This is wrong because several articles have stated that this merge has been talked about for almost a decade, showing that this process has been carefully thought out, recognising any consequences and benefits before signing. Now to my first point. As stated by Adelaide University, the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA will allow for an expansion of educational opportunities for students. The combined institution will offer a broader range of programs and courses, providing students with increased choice and flexibility. This will enable them to tailor their education to their specific interests and career goals. Moreover, the merger will facilitate interdisciplinary collaboration, fostering the development of innovative programs that address the complex challenges of the modern world in some cases. This is all according to the Adelaide University website. The University of Adelaide are famously known for their specialisation in their STEM and history courses, while UniSA are known for their technology courses. What I mean by this is that the merge will allow for greater specialisation and expansion into these courses, and allow the university to address each other's weaknesses. While each university has their strengths and weaknesses in terms of the education, the merge will allow for greater strengths and specialisations in a multitude of courses. The focus should be on preserving the unique aspects of each institution while leveraging the benefits of collaboration. What I mean by this statement is that there are multiple examples of universities in Australia that have merged and in return created a high quality education. An example of the degree of quality of education that can be given through the act of merging universities is Melbourne University. As according to QS World Rankings, Melbourne is the best law and medical school in not only the country, but also the Southern Hemisphere. This example shows that merging universities can have a very positive influence on their education courses to keep on creating these world-renowned universities and putting Australian education on the map. Now, to my second point, the H index. The merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA will further increase the H index in line with the size and scale of the proposed merger. According to the conversation, the H index is defined as a numerical indicator of how productive and influential a research institution is, in this case, universities. Currently, the H index for the University of Adelaide is 7 and UniSA 30. As according to institution rankings. By combining the resources that both of these universities offer, there is a high chance that this will therefore result in a higher ranking H index. An example of this is Monash University, who merged in 1990 and are currently ranked 3rd in the H index. Monash University are world renowned for their health science and medical programs and are one of the largest universities in Australia. This is all according to QS World Rankings also. What I mean by this example is that merging universities has proved to increase the educational opportunities and H index of the newly proposed university, which in this case is Adelaide University. Both of these universities have something that the other doesn't, causing a lack in their respective H index. However, through the merge, Adelaide University will be able to deliver nation-leading curriculum and student experience, greater access to education, and world-class research excellence, ultimately resulting in a higher H index. The merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA holds immense potential for enhancing education possibilities and improving institutional rankings. By expanding educational opportunities and leveraging combined resources, the merged institution will create a stronger academic presence, attracting top talent and elevating the overall academic experience. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that from the reasoning presented, the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. Thank you.
I call upon the second negative speaker, Miles Thomas England.
Good evening, members of the audience, opposition, timekeeper and chairperson. The topic for tonight's debate is that the merger between the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. We, as the negative team, adamantly disagree with this statement. The first speaker of the affirmative team has tried to argue that revenue will increase from the merger. However, this is only true if the merger is successful. According to InDaily, mergers which have occurred in past years in places such as the UK, it has taken upwards of 8 years to efficiently merge two institutions. However, this proposal for merging the University of Adelaide and UniSA has only given 3 years to come to fruition. The first speaker tried to argue that the university merger will have economic benefits. However, this will come at the detriment of all South Australian taxpayers. According to InDaily, over $400 million of public money will be invested into the new institution. This taxpayer money will go directly to the new university without being seen at all by the general public of South Australia. The first speaker has also tried to argue that this would make up for lost money from international students during COVID. This is wrong because the Labor government has said that they estimate to have an intake of approximately 49,000 students. This would in fact be a loss of up to 12,000 students compared to the combined 61,000 student intake from this year. Wouldn't this additionally take away from the university's revenue? The second speaker of the affirmative team has tried to argue that the merger would diversify and improve education. However, collaboration between two universities, even without merging, can yield significant benefits. By pooling resources and expertise, institutions can create joint programs or internationally partnerships that enhance their appeal to students. This collaborative approach would allow universities to maintain their individual identities while leveraging each other's strengths to compete more efficiently in the global education market. They have also tried to argue that this merger has been thought out, and by saying that there has been 10 plus years of debate over the topic. This is wrong because the merger proposal was shot down after the 2018 discussion, which was due to the university's inabilities to compromise and agree on basic administrative decisions, let alone more important decisions such as programs and funding. Our first speaker has already spoken to you about how the merger has been rushed and mishandled. She has also discussed the broader ramifications from such institutional changes such as quality of service and job positions. Our third speaker will rebut in some of our team's case. My first point is that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA has become deeply entangled with the political agenda of the Malinauskas government. According to ABC News, the Malinauskas government went to the 2022 state election promising that if they were elected, he would revive the failed discussion of the merger between the University of Adelaide and UniSA. According to the Advertiser, the reason for which the discussion of a merger failed was because of the two institutions' inability to agree with one another, which I have already stated in my vote. This time around, Malinauskas promised that he would set up an independent commission to investigate the viability of an amalgamated institution. However, this commission was never formed, despite the Labor government budgeting over $1 million to fund the commission to go ahead. This commission was a crucial step in deciding what was best for the universities, the key purpose of the commission was to establish whether or not the merger was a good idea. In the absence of this commission, there exists no concrete evidence to confirm that the merger is a good idea. In the place of a merger, the universities conducted an internal feasibility study. The purpose of this was only to find if there was a surface level possibility for the universities to merge, and was in no way a concrete answer to say that the merger is a good idea. The Independent Australian News reported that the commission was carelessly abandoned by the new Premier Malinauskas. Malinauskas was quoted by In Daily last December saying that despite the merger not being a done deal, that he would make the merger happen. They describe his backing of the decision as bullish and unrelenting. My second point is that the proposal of the merger between the two universities is in theory intriguing. However, in practice, the integrity of these two institutions is severely undermined by the multitude of unattainable goals that have been set, and that the best interests of students have been severely lost in this decision-making process. According to the official South Australian University merger proposal, the Malinauskas government intends to meet 5 key goals with the merger. First, create an internationally recognised top 100 university. Second, to increase the productivity of academic pathways. Third, to optimise commercialising research and economic growth. However, attempting to achieve these 5 major goals is going to prove extremely challenging. In conclusion, we as the negative team strongly believe that the merging of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a bad idea. Thank you.
I call upon the third affirmative speaker, Gina Barreto.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that the merger of the University of Adelaide and UniSA is a good idea. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. I would like to clarify, before I move into my rebuttal, that this merge is to benefit the quality of education and increase revenue for the universities separately who may be doing financially badly apart due to COVID-19 and its effects. This is not for private gain, but the purpose of a university is to provide higher education and not to create gain for themselves. The first speaker from the negative team has tried to tell you that marketing can increase financial gain. This is wrong, since marketing is not as effective as creating a merger. Domestically, everyone in South Australia knows about UniSA and the University of Adelaide through school programs that demonstrate higher education possibilities in the state. Internationally, areas like Crimson Education and other international student resources project and market places like Uni Adelaide and UniSA as places to go to for university in Australia. Yet we still don't see any financial gain or as many international students coming to these universities. By creating a mega university, as it's called, we can increase the image of these universities internationally compared to marketing, and as Insider Guides has mentioned, there can be a $500 million gain to the universities in just the next 10 years. Precedentally, universities that have merged have had a revenue as low as $1 billion increase per year, and the highest has been $2.9 billion per year for merged universities in Australia itself. The first negative speaker also talked about job security. Insider Guides has mentioned that there will be an increase in 1,200 jobs with the merger of these universities. Furthermore, jobs cannot be lost. We need student-to-teacher ratios. The Good Universities Guide has mentioned that universities in Australia have about an 11:1 to 20:1 ratio, and universities will need to keep this ratio. With the amount of people that are involved and as students in these universities, we will need to keep up the amount of jobs. Just because we're merging these universities, it doesn't make teachers redundant. The first negative speaker also mentioned that this process is rushed. As our second speaker stated, this merger has been discussed for decades. And even though, yes, it was shut down because the universities couldn't agree, the fact that this is going ahead means that debates have evolved since 2018 when this was shut down. They've come to negotiation. There has been more that has been discussed behind what we can see. Quicker mergers have occurred as well, like Monash in Victoria, the University of Melbourne, the University of New South Wales, and the University of Sydney. These are all mergers that have occurred in Australia in quick time, probably quicker than this, and have been extremely successful on appearing on the world stage. The first negative speakers also stated, why fix what isn't broken? This isn't really broken, but we can gain a lot from merging these universities. First of all, as our second affirmative speaker stated, we can increase the H index, which is the research output of these universities combined. We can also enhance the strengths and uplift these strengths in certain courses that each university has to offer. We can also fix any financial troubles as created by COVID-19, perhaps not fix, but gain progress towards, and gain overall rankings. But why are these rankings so important? These rankings are important because they benefit the industry. If we have more skilled workers or skilled students that come to study at these universities, we can project higher gain towards the workforce. The second negative speaker mentioned that the merger may not be successful, but she mentioned the UK's mergers not being successful and being slow, but not Australia. Monash, the University of New South Wales, Sydney and Melbourne are examples of universities that have been merged and are world-class institutes, appearing in the top 100 universities in the world. These universities are known for their expertise in engineering, health, science, law, journalism. The University of Melbourne is the best law school and medical school in Australia, but not just Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere, thus showing that mergers can be successful and have been successful in Australia. The second negative speaker also stated that SA taxpayers' money will be getting drained. But this is not just for fun, and this is just not to have something random happen in the state. This is for the purpose of education. We are trying to educate the next generation of students to perform well in the workforce. And what is the purpose of the workforce anyway? It is to increase the lives, to benefit the lives of us, to provide good healthcare, to provide good legal services, to build good infrastructure. That is the purpose of education. We're not just enhancing an already well-built road or building a new hotel. The second negative speaker also stated, as I mentioned before, that the proposal was shut down. Yes, this proposal was shut down, but as I've stated before, debates can be negotiated, and has obviously been shown that the chancellors and leaders of the University of Adelaide and UniSA have come to an agreement and therefore are signing this deal. And finally, the second negative speaker mentioned that students' interests are not being fulfilled. Students just end up going to a different campus or stay in the same campus as before. The only people for which this changes are those who receive a different logo and seal on their diplomas, bachelor's degrees or master's degrees, and especially for those who are actually working out the logistical areas of this. Nothing actually changes for the students. Now to my summary. Our first speaker spoke to you about the financial and economic benefits of the merge, noting that $500 million will be brought into the economy. Thank you.